All right, speaking of love, though, people love their iPhones. And
Yes.
we begin this hour with a rare conversation with Apple CEO Tim Cook. Apple, the world's most valuable company, is rolling out new features designed to save lives. They include technology that can detect when you or your Apple device are in a car crash. Another new feature lets you send an emergency SOS message when there is no Wi-Fi or cellular data, using a satellite. And we can announce right here on CBS Mornings that the new satellite service launches later today here in the U.S. and in Canada. During our recent visit to Apple's Silicon Valley campus, we got an exclusive look at the satellite service and talked to Tim Cook about everything from the future of Apple to its relationship with Twitter.
We're going to make some history together today.
The introduction of Apple's iPhone helped push smartphone adoption to the masses. And in the years since its 2007 debut, the company has continued to refine its flagship handset while developing products like watches and tablets. Is this a tech company or a health and wellness brand?
Well, that's a good question.
Tim Cook is Apple's CEO. He's been with the tech giant since the late 90s and succeeded Steve Jobs as the leader of the brand in 2011.
We're a company that wants to enrich people's lives with our products.
Yeah.
When we shipped the watch initially, we did so thinking about it from a wellness point of view. I started getting notes about people that found out that they had heart issues that they didn't know about. And the next thing we did was put an ECG in. And so we just have kept pulling the string, and we keep asking ourselves, how can we help?
iPhone 14 Pro will be able to communicate with satellites.
Starting today, iPhone 14 users in the U.S. and Canada will be able to text via satellite with emergency services when cellular and Wi-Fi coverage isn't available. Just make sure you have a clear view of the sky and horizon, and the system will guide you through a number of intuitive screen swipes, moves, and taps. Is that a little satellite up there?
That is a little satellite up there.
Kyan Drance is Apple's VP of iPhone marketing. And it just connected.
And it just connected. So what it's doing now, it is sending the answers to the questions that I just put in. It sends my location information, including my elevation. It sends my medical ID, if I've set that up, even my battery level on the phone.
The small white spaces represent gaps in cellular service. Apple's emergency SOS via satellite is designed to help fill those gaps.
I'm a hiker, and so I'm frequently out in places where there is no service. And you don't want there to be poles out there either, because you kind of are getting away. It's one of the purposes of it, frankly. But now to have the ability to contact in the event of an emergency is huge.
It really is.
You know, if you go to national parks, the national parks are largely not covered by cellular service. And so this happens to people all the time. And it feels so great to be able to talk to a satellite hundreds of miles away, traveling at 15,000 miles an hour.
In addition to the emergency SOS feature,
Commencing tests.
Apple's latest iPhone and watch line are designed to detect severe car crashes and, if needed, automatically dial 911 for help.
We crash a ton of cars. We put thousands of devices, more importantly, thousands of iPhones and Apple Watches into these cars, into wherever people would put their phones and watches while driving.
Ron Huang is a senior member of Apple's Sensing and Connectivity division. He says Apple spent years studying vehicle impacts.
We collected a lot of high-fidelity data to really, from the device's vantage point, what a crash looks like.
When it comes to Apple, as it acquires more information, tries to create more products to make this seamless relationship between its users and the products even better, you know, where is too far? Because you said that privacy is a fundamental human right.
That's right. And we deeply believe that. And so things even like crash detection, which we've talked about, all of that information is held on your device.
Right.
Because we see it as your information. We're not sucking that information up into the cloud to make decisions off of it. And so we believe in getting the bare minimum level of information that we need to provide somebody a service. And we see privacy as this issue that is the issue of the century.
Cook has watched the company gain trillions of dollars in market value since he took the helm. And while Apple remains the world's most valuable company, it isn't spared from current economic conditions. There's been reports that Apple has frozen hiring in certain areas.
Yeah.
Where do you see Apple as it tries to navigate this unpredictable economic future?
So what we're doing as a consequence of being in this period is we're being very deliberate on our hiring, That means we're continuing to hire, but not everywhere in the company are we hiring. We believe strongly in investing for the long term. And we don't believe you can save your way to prosperity. We think you invest your way to it.
Cook wants to focus on his employees and his company. But there are other headlines coming out of Silicon Valley that are hard to ignore, especially when your product hosts apps like Twitter. Twitter's been the headlines. I don't want to ask you about anybody else, but I'd be remiss if I didn't. Is there anything that Twitter could evolve or devolve into where it would cause you to discontinue that relationship or remove them from the...
You know, they say that they're going to continue to moderate, and so I think that, you know, I count on them to do that, and because I don't think anybody really wants hate speech on their platform, and so I'm counting on them to continue to do that.
I would love to ask you about retirement, but I don't want to do that. I've learned my lesson with Tom Brady. We just don't know. But what's next for Tim Cook?
Oh, I don't know. I look at this company, and it's a privilege of a lifetime to be here. And I get to work with people I really love to work with and spend time with them. And so there's a lot of joy in my life because of Apple. And it's really hard to envision life without Apple.